Good morning and welcome to the Utopian Cafe for Monday, September 6th. It's Labor Day and we have Stan Phillips here. My apologies to Stan for not being able to do a show Friday morning. I woke up with a tremendous cramp in my leg, so I apologize, Stan. But thanks for accommodating us today. We have a Stan Joey doubleheader as Stan is with us this morning, and then I'll be on his show in about a half hour. Morning, Stan.
Good morning. One question. What is that hat? Is that a
Cleveland
baseball hat?
Browns. No,
The
this is
Cleveland
Cleveland
Browns,
Browns. I've actually
the
been a
football team.
Browns fan since about 1983. Yeah.
Wow. It's busy up there. What does all that mean? I thought it would just be a generic.
It's a dog. It's kind of weird. It's like just a drawing.
Oh,
of
I get it now. I see. It's a dog. At first, I thought it was a spider, but now I get it. The old dog pound. All right. Takes me. I haven't had my cup of coffee. Hold on one second. Well, maybe I can focus in now here on that. Now it makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
I actually bought this probably 20 years ago in Cleveland at I think it was well, let's see, 2000. No, I bought this in 2005 at a Ravens Browns game. They actually beat the Ravens on opening day. It was either 05 or 06. They beat them on opening day 20-3. Jeff Garcia was the quarterback that year, and I think they won 2 more games that year.
Jeff Garcia was a very underrated quarterback. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was. I mean, we got him at the tail end, but he was good that day. I know that for sure, but I think they ended up going like 3-13 that year anyway. But I've been a Browns fan since 1983. I'm excited for the season to start Sunday. It's one of my favorite days of the year. That first Sunday of the NFL, I usually get up at like 5 a.m.
There's no game in London that day.
No, that's correct.
A trivia question for you, baseball related, interjecting with the Cleveland Browns. What Hall of Famer used to sit in the dog pound?
Baseball Hall of Famer sitting in the dog pound?
He was well known to be sitting in the dog pound.
You know what? I think I know. Is it Warren Spahn?
Hank Aaron.
It is Hank. Yeah, that's right. I knew it was a Brave because I knew one of them was a big Cleveland Browns fan. And as soon as you said Aaron, I'm like, yeah, because I've read Lonnie Wheeler's book a couple times, and they talk about that in there too.
Yeah, he went quite often. I'm not sure if he had season tickets or not, but he was there quite often. I know that.
Yeah, actually, my best friend growing up, I guess his parents were Browns fans. I think his mom was from Ohio, his dad was from Nebraska, but I think they met in college in Ohio. And when I was like 7 years old, I think they had, I don't know if they had a satellite dish or what they had, but they got Browns games every Sunday. And I'd come home and mom would say, "What did you do today at Sean's house?" And I said, "Well, we watched the Browns." And she's like, "Browns?" She didn't even have a chance to like tell me what the Packers were. So before I even knew what the Green Bay Packers were, I was a Browns fan.
Yeah. What does the Packers represent name wise? What is there?
The Acme Packing Company in Green Bay in like 1919. My history of the NFL is not as clear in my head as Major League Baseball, but I guess my understanding was there were only like 4 teams in the NFL in 1919. I think it was Green Bay, Chicago, Akron, someone else. And I don't know, for like the first 5 or 10 years or so, is basically, I think, Midwest. And the Packers represent the Acme Packing Company. And they are, to this day, the only professional sports team that does not have an owner. They're actually owned by the fans. Which is a very unique situation. So there's not like one owner for the team. It's like they have shareholders, and the shareholders help, or the board of directors, I guess, named a president, and then president obviously runs the team, helps, get general manager, coaches, and all that. But for my money, and again, I've been a Browns fan for almost 40 years. Lambeau Field for me is my favorite sports experience that I've ever done, and I've been there probably a dozen times. There's just nothing like going to Lambeau Field.
Now, is there a particular reason why?
The whole city, and it's a really small town. They just shut down on game day. Like, I mean, there are businesses that remain open, but if you go into a grocery store at noon on a Sunday, you're the only one there, because it just it's like a small festival 10 times a year, if you include like preseason games too, and they have family night where they'll sell out Lambeau Field, 60,000 people at Lambeau for a scrimmage.
Yeah, I saw that one night on the NFL Network. I was amazed that many people were there for something like that before the exhibition season even started.
Yeah, it's a crazy atmosphere. I mean, it's just like the whole city comes together. My favorite sporting experience of all time was I surprised my family. I forget the year. I want to say it was 03. I got them tickets for Christmas for their first Packer game. I had been to a couple. The game was the 26th. I think they were playing Buffalo. And the Packers won 10-0. Vonnie Holliday had 5 sacks in the game. And at the end of the game, with like a minute and a half left, it started snowfall. It was almost like a greeting card. And while it was snowing and 65,000 people were celebrating this victory, they played John Lennon's Happy Christmas. And I think the whole atmosphere just got to me, just being with my mom and my family for their first game. It's still my favorite sports memory of all time, to be in person. Just unbelievable.
That sounds fantastic. Good memories.
Yeah.
Good memories.
So again, I thank you, Stan, for rescheduling here. On the bottom of the screen, I'm just going to get some scores from yesterday. In the Utopia, the Mets pulled off a sweep of the Red Sox. They are just now 5 games back of the wild card with 18 games to play. We have a quadruple header in the Utopian baseball universe today on ESPN, and a doubleheader on Xbox at 11 o'clock this morning. So in about 4 hours, we've got the Blue Jays and Nationals, who are separated by a game in the East. And then tonight at 11 o'clock, we're going to have the Giants and Padres, who are separated by 2 games in the West. So we're getting your scores on the bottom here. Here's the North. I believe the 4 games today on ESPN are Phillies Mets, Pirates Brewers, Marlins Bulls, and Seattle Oakland, which is going to feature 2 of the top 3 home run hitters in the universe this year. We've got Reggie Jackson versus Ken Griffey. The home run leader at the at Labor Day is Bryce Harper with 31. So Bryce Harper has entered the MVP race. He's having an unbelievable year for Washington. Washington now has a game lead on Toronto and Boston with 18 games to play. Barry Bonds is having a big year. I know later on your show, we're going to go over all the league leaders in the universe, but it's going to be a fun Labor Day. I usually do something unique on the holidays. Instead of just doing one post or one show at the end of the night, I'm going to update scores throughout the day, because we've got a lot of day games today, a handful of night games, and I'm probably going to, 3 o'clock give an update, 6 o'clock give an update, maybe a quick update at 9, and then just kind of update throughout the day. Very much looking forward to today.
Big day, big day.
Big day. And let's talk about the New York Mets pulling off a very exciting win yesterday in Washington. Kevin Pillar hitting that grand slam to really seal the deal. I think the Mets are 3.5 games back now.
Still three and a
Still in
half.
third place, but in looking at their schedule, I think they start a series with Miami tomorrow. It's still within grasp. I still don't know, and I'm going to have to probably ask you what the plans are for DeGrom. Is he long tossing yet? Is there any
He's thrown
chance
up
that
to
we get him
100.
back?
He's thrown up to 100 feet, and they're saying it's promising, but they're not saying anything beyond that point. So if he does pitch, it probably won't be to the last week or so, because at this point he should be amping it up a bit on the mound.
Yeah.
And now September 6th. So it's going to have to happen quick, because I think the season ends like October 2nd. So whatever we get out of him, we get out of him, but I wouldn't count on him at this point. But we'll see what happens. But
I would guess and this is really just a guess. I think at the end of this weekend, if the Mets are within a game or two, I think they pitch him. And if they're, 4 or 5 out, I think they shut him down.
Yeah. Well, at this point, they really can't fall any further than where they are right now, because this is the easy week still that we have coming up, Washington today and then the Marlins. But after that, it gets tough.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's going to be like San Francisco and the Dodgers were, but when you play the Yankees, the Cardinals, the Brewers, and my fear is, especially when you play a team like the Brewers or the Yankees or the Cardinals who have good pitching staffs, they can put you into a cold streak right away. The hitters could go cold. And as you know, as I've always preached the gospel of Brandon Nimmo, having him out is going to hurt. But like I said, when he was out for 2 months, we managed to get by. You just need another little Band-Aid and get it together. All you need is 1 or 2 guys to really get hot the next couple of weeks. But the key is they have to get hot. So
yeah. So last night, Stan, I accidentally hit a graphic there from last night's show. We did a show called Let's Fix Baseball, where we had Andrew Pfeffer, Scott Cherry, and Jason Cherry and myself talked about things that we would change about baseball. What are a couple things that if you were commissioner, you would change about the current major league product? It could be on the field, or it could be marketing. What are a couple things that you would change?
Well, number one is fans are always talking about the length of the games, and they're trying to use every gimmick to shorten the game. Have an intentional walk where the guy just goes to first base that cuts off like 2 seconds a game. All these other gimmicks that they have, but the real culprit is commercial time. It's 2.5 minutes in between every half inning. Now, when I was growing up, the Mets games I'd watch, it'd be 1 30-second commercial, and they'd come back live to the broadcast booth, and the players weren't even ready to perform yet. So I'm not saying to cut it to one commercial, but maybe a minute and a half. And what they can do is, sometimes you see these little commercials in the corner of your screen, for like 10, 20 seconds, do that. Because it's getting to the point now where I just don't want to sit through a game at home watching on TV, knowing that every time you can have a 7-pitch inning, and then you're going to sit through 2.5 minutes of commercials. It's getting to the point now where I'll just DVR the game. If the Met game starts at 7 o'clock, watch it at 8 and zip through the commercials. So in a way, baseball is for people like me. They're losing that commercial revenue because I'm not watching the commercials. So maybe if they shorten it, make them more impactful, that'll help. And I actually think that also has a lot to do with baseball attendance during the week. When you go to a 7 o'clock game now, you're not leaving that ballpark till after 10 o'clock. And especially with school and everything like that, it's tough. It's tough to get up the next morning, no matter what time you get up the next morning, if you're not going to get home till 11:30 midnight, if they're going to a game. So I got to do something as far as shortening the games, maybe even moving up to like a 6:30 start, because I'm a realist. I don't think many people watch a game from beginning to end. I do when I have the time. But I think people want to see the ending of the game, and they want the game to be exciting at the end. So if you start at 6:30, even if people tune in at 7 o'clock, it's still the second or third inning. You still have the main pitchers on the mound. And if the game ends 9:30, I think you'll have more attentive audience. So that's another thing that they should do. So my beef is just the length of the games, cutting into TV time, And to me, that's the major culprit. And the other thing too is just the cost of going to a game. Kids can't really, if you have a big family, it's cost prohibitive to take your family, and the kids don't get to enjoy that major league experience. So maybe one day out of the month, a Saturday or whatever day, a Saturday afternoon game, just have the whole upper deck like $2 for families or something like that, just to have the people experience a game and they can afford to go to, at least as far as the ticket prices. Now, if they're hungry and at the game, that's another story. It's going to cost you $100. But uh, those are my two beefs. And if they can be corrected somehow, I'm not saying every game you have to charge $2 for the upper deck, but make it a big event where it's very festive. I know the Oakland A's one year had free admission to one game, and it was just packed, and it was like a World Series game. I think that's maybe they came back from a strike or something. I'm not even familiar with what the circumstances were. But something like that just revives interest, and it gives you that ballpark experience. It's almost like a free advertisement to come to the ballpark. So if the fans can come out and it's be affordable one day, well, they may just pay full price the next time. So that's
Yeah,
good.
we actually talked about both of those points last night. If the point you made about the commercials during a baseball game on television, a lot of networks, I think TBS does this really well. They have pretty much all their commercials. So what they do is like if a show ends, like a rerun of Friends, they have the closing credits on the bottom half of the screen while the next episode airs. So that's saving 3 minutes right there. If they did that during a baseball game, and like you said, you don't even watch the ads, but you would probably be more attentive to the ads if they were during the game. So again, if you just have the ads, if you come out of the bottom of the first inning, go to the top of the second inning, and you have the ad in the corner instead of leaving for 2.5 minutes, there's 20 minutes right there that you're shaving off of a game.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. To me, that's the biggest killer. I mean, I'm not saying I have a short attention span, but when you spend more than 3 hours watching any sports broadcast, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I like the NFL, because they cut it to like 3 hours, they keep the clock going, whereas college football can go on for 4 hours and it's constant scoring back and forth. After a while, it just becomes white noise after a while.
Yeah.
So you just have to make everything significant. So if you have one or two commercials that are impactful and the game increases the flow of the game, I think that helps the game itself as far as the pace of the game.
Yeah. All right. So we're with Stan Phillips here. It is Labor Day. Now, Stan is the curator and the admin for Baseball A Way of Life, New York Mets A Way of Life, and one of my favorite groups on Facebook, the Fun Stuff group. And I know, again, we always joke about how there's like a continuation for that title, but I just refer to it as the Fun Stuff group. So today's 5 questions for Stan is going to be the fun stuff themed. So I'm trying to look here to see if we have any. I don't even have any baseball questions here today for you, Stan. But these are. I took a lot of your ideas from your group to kind of promote that group, the fun stuff. So here we go. 5 questions for Stan, Labor Day edition, fun stuff edition. Question number 1. When I say Laverne and Shirley, what is the first thing that pops into your head?
Well, I'm going to say Milwaukee. And number 2, I'm going to say Happy Days, because I was a big Happy Days fan. And I always want to know, how far away are you from Waukesha?
I am about a half hour away, and I love Waukesha. Waukesha actually borders with Wauwatosa, who has one of my favorite pizzerias in the world called Balistraries.
The reason why I mention that is that's like my all-time favorite Happy Day. I know we're talking with Laverne and Shirley when the fawn says, "Oh, I gotta catch a bus to Waukesha for Christmas." So when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I don't even know how old I was the first time I saw that. I try to watch it once a year, the Christmas episode from Happy Days. It always brings a smile and a tear to my eye all the time. So, and because of that, the Laverne and Shirley spinoff, it's got to be Milwaukee, and then I guess Shots Brewery.
Yep. Classic. All right. Question number 2 for Stan here on Labor Day. Do you like Hall & Oates? And if so, what is your favorite song of theirs?
Well, my favorite song is Man Eater, And yes, I do like Hall and Oates. I actually saw them live. I had to be 19 when I guess when the Maneater song and then the album that corresponded to that came out. So I was like 1984, 85, like that. And they sold out Madison Square Garden, and they've kept the longevity. They still occasionally, I think they played the Garden a couple years ago, so they still have an impact. I just think they have a unique sound. There's no one that sounds like them. So either you like them or you don't like them, but they're unique in that regard. And it's very rare for a duo to have that rock and roll sound to it and still put out quality music. So, yeah, I do like Hall and Oates, and it would have to be Maneater. And yourself?
Nice. I love Hall and Oates. I actually remember as a kid, Andrew Pfeffer, a really good friend of mine and a member of this group. He and I stayed up one night till like 9 o'clock to see the premiere video for Out of Touch.
That was another big one. That was the
I
heyday of
remember,
MTV.
Yep. And then they played Out of Touch every hour on the hour for like 2 days. But I remember watching it for the first time in his living room. Question number 3, food showdown, wings or nachos? You have to choose one.
Well, the one I would pick on a more consistent basis. I love them both, but it's wings. Either hot wings or then when you get like these, like they're not necessarily hot wings. I can't describe them. They're called wingsings. I'm not sure if they're like in the Milwaukee area, but they're just like spicy coverings. You know, you don't even need hot sauce, but they're spicy to begin with, and you dip them in hot sauce. But I get cravings more, and I'm basing this on my cravings. I get cravings more for wings than nachos.
Okay. This is a really tough one for me. I'm not even going to answer it because I don't want to
Oh,
hurt
it's like changing your sheets and stuff like that. No, 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 no. After that, I just wanted to call up YouTube and delete that whole video from my response because you can interpret my response any way you want with that one. And I thought about it. I said, I'm being set up here. So I have a feeling this is a setup question.
Yeah. All right. So recently, you were asked on, I don't know if it was on your group or another group, to choose 3 of 9 cereals. And the 3 that you choose were Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, or Frosted Flakes. So, of the 3, which one is your favorite?
Ooh. Well, from a health standpoint, I would probably pass on Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks, and Frosted Flakes aren't exactly nutritious either, but they're more of a meal for me. But I could just eat Fruit Loops out of the box. I don't even need milk with that. I could just eat them as a snack. So the cereal showdown, which one would I take?
Yeah.
I would probably take Fruit Loops because to me they're like a candy, and it's just so sweet going down. I'll have a stomach ache a half hour later, but I'll go with Fruit Loops.
Solid choice. And final question for Stan today on this Labor Day. Give me your top 5 SNL cast members of all time.
Well, 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 that is tough. I'm old school and probably one of my favorite actors of all time. And because of this, he gets a pass on Saturday Night Live, no matter what. Even though I did love him on Saturday night, it's probably Bill Murray. That's number one. I always loved his sense of humor, even on the Saturday Night Live show. So he's definitely in there. Eddie Murphy basically reinvented Saturday Night Live. He's up there. John Belushi's got to be one of the top 3.
Yeah.
And then, see, I have to go through all these years now and just run it by me now. Ooh, who would be my favorite female? I always like Tina Fey, but I know she's not one of my top 5, but I want to put a woman in there. And then after that, wow, it's tough. I'll go with Adam Sandler.
That's pretty solid. I think Sandler is still to this day the number one. Well, Eddie Murphy's probably number 1, but I would say Sandler's probably number 2 grossing box office as far as SNL alum. I think Murphy's made the most money from movies, and I think Sandler is number 2 as far as SNL former cast members.
And the funny thing about Sandler is his movies are so bad, they're good.
Yeah.
because of him. You know what I'm saying? You expect him to be bad because of him because he makes them funny. So I know it's a weird concept, but that's how I think about that.
No, I agree with that. And your list is pretty close to mine. Bill Murray's my all-time favorite. The first impression I ever did as a kid was his lounge singer act from SNL.
Oh yeah.
I would just create lyrics for like instrumentals using his voice, and the only other one I'd probably throw in there would be Dana Carvey.
And I was going to pick him too. That was one of my choices, but I went for Tina Fey instead. But I love Dana Carvey too. I love the whole Wayne's World shtick, and you take it from there.
Yeah,
But getting back to Bill Murray, the Star Wars theme in the lounge, that's
yeah,
one of the all-time classic bits of all time.
yeah. That's probably my top three all-time favorite SNL sketches. That sketch is why I'm a fan of the show today.
Yeah, I think most people are, and that's why you always have to throw the original cast in there because without them, the show wouldn't be going today. So
Yeah. All right. Well, Stan Phillips, thanks for joining me on a Monday morning. Stan's going to be back on the cafe on Friday at 7:30, and in a couple minutes, join us on Baseball: A Way of Life. I'll be on Stan's show. He's going to have 5 questions for me. We're probably going to talk more Mets. So everyone have a great Labor Day. Join Stan and I in a couple minutes, and then again at 11 o'clock this morning, we got Blue Jays Nationals. 11 o'clock tonight. Padres Giants. Take care, and we'll see you later.
take care, everyone. Bye bye.